Happy Thursday. I am Tiana Nichelle, and I am a serial entrepreneur. I have a nonprofit organization, Empower Society. Right now, we are in the middle of our supply drive. Um, in our supply drive, we have actually extended it to September. So, if you have donations, you can go to our website, empowersociety21.org, or if you have individuals or you are a family, that has an individual with disabilities in your family that's in need of school supplies, please reach out to us, connect with us. Also, this weekend is the ride, We Ride for Charity. So I am still accepting donations for that as well. Come out, bring your families, and it's an opportunity to, all of the donations will go towards a charity. So just being a blessing unto others is what that is about. Yes, I have my own nonprofit organization, but I also give to other nonprofit organizations. So that is what We Ride for Charity is really about. Being a blessing to another nonprofit. And I also have events coming up. So, a master class that I am building out that will actually be starting in September for families to learn how to advocate for their loved ones with a disability. So, the link will actually be available on Saturday to register for that class. So share, share, share. What else is going on? Yeah, I have some other events coming up too as well, so I will just keep you in the loop. But I also have these conversations every Thursday, and been doing this for the last 2 years. And I keep doing it because people tell me what a blessing it is to hear my story, to help them with their own situations. And, well, I have a lot of stories, but to hear those, hear me share things candidly, it has blessed the lives of others. They have expressed that. So I continue to have these conversations, have community conversations on change, relationship conversations. I am an empowerment coach. I also am a trauma informed. I am a trauma informed coach. I was about to say therapist. No, we're not. But coach is what we are. And I do so many things within the disability community. So come along for the ride. Come along. There's just so much that I will be doing this year, next year. And let me tell you, when you are operating in your purpose and you are helping people and blessing other people's lives, the attacks be great. They be great, child. I almost did not come on here because it was so many things that's going on in the background that I will eventually share, but not now. But it was trying to stop me from coming on here. So that's actually why I am late, because it was some things that I need to gather myself and pray and all of that. So nobody is exempt. It doesn't matter what's going on. Nobody is exempt from attacks. It is so funny, the very thing that because I have wanted to have this conversation, and I've had this conversation previously, and it's funny, the last time I had this conversation, it was an attack. And then this time, it's an attack. So, the very things sometimes that you talk about you will be under attack for in the spirit realm. But we're going to get into it. And so this is leading me to the topic, prioritizing your mental health. it is very important for you to prioritize your mental health. And a lot of times we have people that are in our sphere that, and it's usually family and friends and things like that, that sometimes they mean well and other times they don't, but they will pull on you, right? There are situations that we allow to pull on us when we are trying to play savior to people and we're doing all of the things, and then we're carrying burdens and just different things in our minds, which usually affects your health. So what's going on? I say this: what's going on the inside of you usually comes out in your health. Like, it's so crazy. I was having a conversation with my mom, and I was talking about how I have been able within the last year or so to actually focus on my physical health. Now, previously, I didn't have that opportunity because I was doing all of the things and helping do so many things. My plate was so full that I didn't have a capacity to really help other people, but I still was, and I was running on fumes. So, plus I had things that was going on with me internally. I had some resentment that I was feeling towards other people, and I wasn't saying anything. I was internalizing every single thing, or I would, prior to that, I would just spew out whatever I was feeling. But then once I started to realize how powerful my words are, I pulled back and I started to really like internalize it, because I was trying to choose my words wisely, but sometimes it will be like a tea kettle. Like, you put all of the water in it, right? And then all of a sudden it just starts to boil, and I'm steaming. And that's how I was essentially, and it's not healthy. So it showed up in my weight. And as you could see from pictures that I posted, I weighed 415 pounds. My current weight is 281 pounds. So that makes a big difference when you are prioritizing your mental health, who you have in your space, your sphere. It's very important. So the first thing that I'm going to say is to get in tune with your feelings. Understanding yourself is the biggest key to prioritizing your mental health and your physical health. When you are in tune with your feelings, you know when something or a situation is going to take you, off the path that you're supposed to be on, or it's going to weigh on you emotionally. You understand the things that stress you out or that make you feel uncomfortable, and then you will decide to not consistently put yourself in that type of a situation. For a lot of people, you learn to recognize your capacity, right? Like, a lot of people that have prioritized their mental health will tell you capacity is the biggest thing. You realize that you don't have the capacity to take on the cares of the world, and then put yourself on the back burner, because you putting yourself on the back burner is essentially saying everybody else is way more important than you. And that's not the truth. I never understood when people were like, you can't pour from an empty cup. It is so true. If you are not doing the things to fill yourself up, you will not be able to pour into people freely because you just won't have it. You will be bogged down with all of the thoughts and the issues that's going through your mind that stem and really that goes into your physical health, because like I said, everything that happens with you internally, especially with your emotions, it comes out in your physical health. And so, and thank you all for joining. Hello for those of you all that are joining. So I have just a few things that I jotted down. So I said get in tune with your feelings and understanding your capacity. If you're someone that is always the strong one, or you're always helping, give yourself permission to take a step back. Especially, like I said, if the situation stresses you out. The other part is when it's not being reciprocated. A lot of the times people who have the complex to try to save people, those things are not being reciprocated. You're just doing, and people are just taking advantage of your kindness by you constantly helping them. Consider this, and this is just food for thought. If you weren't around to consistently help that person or those people in their situations, how would they handle those situations? They will find somebody else to help them. They don't need you to consistently run to their rescue. So you have to stop playing God. I had that same complex where I felt like, okay, I got to do this and I got to help this person. I got to help this person. No, you might be called to help, but God may not want you to help in that capacity. He definitely doesn't want you to be taken advantage of. And I know that for a lot of people who are believers, because I'm going to say believers because I don't get into the religious, religion surrounded by people who call themselves Christians, and they are demonstrating they're not a good representation of Jesus' love. So I'm going to say believers, people that actually believe and have a relationship with God, will operate at a different capacity than those who are just churchgoers. I'm going to say that. But you have to ask God for discernment in what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to show up and give. God did not ask you to, go out overextending yourself, overexerting yourself. No. If you study Jesus, he did go out into the world, and but he also had his own self-care where he took time to tap in with God. He took moments, just like God rested, Jesus had his rest too. And he had to tap in to his Father. He had to tap in and get himself together so that he is able to operate in his full capacity. Y'all, for those of you who are believers, really study what Jesus was doing, because he was not overexerting himself to the point where he had no capacity to heal another person, because he was just overtaken by the cares of the world. That's not what happened. So he always took time to commune with God. And so out of that, he gained his strength. Well, it's the same thing for us. We need to pull back and do things that help us to refuel, recharge. If it is prayer that you need to do, if it's meditation, if it is taking in, a new class, or going on a retreat, or being around people who pour into you, or reading self-help books or spiritual books. I even talk about the books that I've read. You got Miles Monroe back there. The Bait of Satan. Um, you have Michael Todd. There's some more in between. T.D. Jakes is back there. But just different books that help pour into you, that renew your mind, your spirit. Take time to do that. It's very important for you to recharge and renew yourself, so that you can operate at your best. You have to operate at your best. And even in order to receive certain things, you have to be at 100%. Just like when you have your phone, you always make sure that bad boy is charged, so that you can use it, so you can utilize it to its full capacity. If you can plug in your charger, just think about the charging that you need in order to operate at your full capacity. So take time for yourself. And like I was saying, ask yourself, if you weren't here to help all those people, what would happen? They will find somebody else to do it. They will figure it out. So it's not necessarily that it's your calling to do that. So that's why I said ask for discernment in those situations, so that you are not overextending yourself into a situation that God is needing that those people to do something in order for a change to happen. That's the other part. Sometimes we wind up interfering with what God is doing in another person's life because we too busy trying to rescue them. Some of the times people could be going through lessons and you wind up interfering in that lesson. So now there are consequences that you don't even know because you attach yourself to that person dead smack in the middle of their lesson. So you need to ask God for discernment on what He wants you to do, who He wants you to bless. The other part is removing yourself from people who are peace stealers. They are joy stealers. People that always have complaints. They're always gossiping about somebody. They always got an issue with the world and what's going on in it. They highlight all of the negative things that's happening. You don't have the time or the ability to be involved with those types of people, because all they're going to do is make you feel depleted. That's the word I'm looking for. Depleted. They will deplete you, and then you will feel like heavy and just different things. So you have to be careful of being around people who are peace stealers. Your peace is so priceless. In this season of my life, and these are lessons that I've learned too, in this season of my life, I prioritize my peace. If it's something that disturbs my peace, I get quiet. I pray. I do meditation, which includes my affirmations, which includes me talking to God, which includes me allowing Him to lead me to certain scriptures, which includes looking at different, I will even go through YouTube and look at different sermons. T.D. Jakes is my favorite, Sarah Jakes, Bishop Kim, who else? Latoya Okia. Those are people that pour into my spirit, and I do recommend that you tap into those people as well, because I'm telling you, like, there's a recharge that happens after I have listened to those sermons. But always being around people who steal your peace, it really disrupts you, and it serves no purpose in your life. So the other part is, when they're gossiping and all of this stuff, know that they're gossiping about you too. You're not exempt from the topic of discussion when your back is turned, because that's part of their character. That's what they do. They are gossipers. It's so funny. that I was just talking about people that gossip, and people don't even realize that gossiping is a sin. People will talk about sexuality. They will talk about cussing, and but they don't talk about there's a million and one sins in the Bible that have nothing to do with sexuality, and gossiping is one of them. And so when you gossiping, you dead smack in the middle of sin. I don't care if you are Kojic. I don't care if you've been in church for your whole entire life. If you sitting there gossiping, you're in sin. End of story. you can look that one up. And it's not serving a purpose. As a matter of fact, when you put your mouth on other people, that stuff comes right back to you. So I would recommend not doing that. And not being around those types of people, because it just really serves no purpose at all to sit amongst gossipers, because there's so many other things that you could be doing that's productive. You could be starting that business. You could be writing that book. You could be, changing the world, but you sitting up there talking about what's going on in somebody's household, or what people are not doing in the world, and you're not even affecting any type of change with those conversations. Your presence and your conversation, what you have to say, should always change somebody's life. It should always be a life altering experience with you being in the room. You should be a ray of sunshine. I never understood that until I got healed. Like, you really should be a demonstration of God's love, especially when you're professing that. There are so many people that don't profess that, and they are. So what is going on with believers? If you're truly a believer, you should really be walking in that thing. You shouldn't be around here gossiping. Keep your mouth off of other people and their situations. If you have some type of issue with a person, instead of sitting there talking about all the things that's wrong with that person, pray for them. Pray for them. Prayer changes things. Take it to God in prayer. Instead of being, this is the other part, being judgmental. Being judgmental is actually sinful in nature. Paul actually talks about judgment. And you are not supposed to do that. It is not your job to go around pointing out the flaws of others. What is the scripture where he talks about you going and trying to take the speck out of your neighbor's eye when you got a log in your own eye? Like, it's really like worry about yourself and what you got going on, instead of trying to point out everybody else's flaws. That part, it's not necessary. If you feel so concerned and compelled about how somebody else is living, pray about it. But don't sit there and put your mouth on people, because you don't know what that person, number one, is walking through. That's why I always pray to see people the way God sees them. That's why there's been a transformation within me, because I pray that prayer. My relationship with God is different. I always say that help me to see people the way that you see them. It will make your perspective on other people change. And you will realize that a lot of things that people are walking through is a symptom of a much deeper problem. Just like you want people to be compassionate about your situation and understand what you're walking through, and you have to have the same grace for other people. You can't want someone to handle you with grace, and then you don't demonstrate that same grace for someone else. If you are wanting to transform your life and your mind and all of those different things, you have to be willing to give people enough grace to allow God to come in and do the same for them. And you have to ask for that for yourself as well, because that's what I ask on a daily basis. I ask God to help me renew my mind, like renew my mind, transform me from the inside out, help me to see people the way that you see them, give me spiritual discernment, different things that I pray for on a daily basis. And it has really done, he has really done a work on me. That's all I'm going to say. So I definitely, when I tell my stories and people are like, oh my goodness, I didn't know that you walked through that. I didn't know that you was going through that. Like, you don't even look like you've been through anything. Baby, this is all God. I get no credit for the work that he has done. It is all God, okay? The weight loss is all God. The healing is all God. The transformation is all God. It's all God. That's why now I have the obligation to tell people, about my walk with God. Tell people how he has transformed me, because people see it, especially old people. They see it, but nobody knows what you're really doing, right? And it's not of you. It's not of my own. Like, this is not my own thoughts or volition or whatever. This is all God. Like, God orchestrated everything in my life. So it is my duty to tell other people about him and how he has transformed me. Now, a lot of people will be like, oh, well, there are Christians out there that, they have bad attitudes and they do this and they do that, and why they, like this. Here's my thing. Christianity is a religion. That is a religion. When you are a believer that walks with God, your light will shine differently from somebody who is just attached to religion and doing all of the religious things. Because you can do things out of routine and habit, but you cannot hide the relationship that you actually have with Christ. That part. When you are constantly in the middle of battles that you sign up for, that you subscribe to, that's a problem. You are constantly arguing with somebody. How does that demonstrate the love of Christ? Why you always got to, subscribe to the argument? No. Walk away. And then I would say, really take it to God in prayer. And sometimes God will reveal to you, this person is walking through X, Y, and Z. Like, they dealing with X, Y, and Z. So, you might need to take a step back from this person, or, wait till everything, the smoke has cleared, and if you can, have a conversation. Now, not having a conversation where you point out all of their flaws, but have a conversation as to, okay, well, we had kind of a heated situation going on, and I value our relationship, so I would like to know, what's going on? What is the miscommunication? And if they being hostile and all of that, you know what to do. You know what to do with that. You don't have to raise your voice, go crazy, do all of the things. You just say, okay, and walk away. I have learned how to walk away. My not responding to the foolishness game is strong now. It didn't used to be like that. I cannot say that it was, because the minute you look at me the wrong way, I used to pop off, So I'm just telling you, like, some things that have helped me, but it's also made me have more peace. So my mind is more at peace. Now, I'm not saying that these things are going to take away every single daily stress that you're going to deal with, life stressor that you will deal with, but you will deal with those life stressors in a different way. You will handle people a different way, and you will learn to handle yourself in a different way, which is really important. How you handle yourself is how people learn how to handle you. So if you are not prioritizing yourself, your mental health, if you're not protecting your spirit and you're signing up for all of these different arguments that people are starting, they're going to continue to do what they're doing. They're going to have a disregard for how you feel until you put up boundaries. And then when you put up boundaries, be okay with the gift of goodbye. Let me just say that. Because when there's an attack on your peace, peace is so priceless. Peace is so priceless. Priceless. So when there's an attack on your peace, and it's a constant attack on your peace, you have to take a step back and be like, wait a minute now. What's going on here? And then put up some boundaries between you and those people. And if you are like, you know what, this is too much, because at a point it should be too much, walk away. If they text, they call, you are not obligated to pick up the phone to them. Then you being friends with somebody, you being in somebody's good graces. Like, your mental health is more important than pleasing somebody else. You are not here to please other people. You are here to only please God. And when you really have that understanding, like, you will totally operate differently. Your life is not necessarily your own, in the sense where you are doing all of the things that just are gratification for yourself. You have limitations. There are limitations on what you can do, but essentially your life is not your own, and it belongs to God. So in order for you to connect with God, you got to have a different way of how you operate and how you even love on yourself. It can't be about other people, because a lot of people operate in dysfunction. I was operating in a lot of dysfunction, and it was making people happy that I was operating in dysfunction. And when I decided to get healing, you best believe people started dropping like flies. This point in my life, I don't care, because I'm just like, my mental health is more important. My peace is more important. My relationship with God is more important than what you got going on, baby. So at the end of the day, my soul is well. All is well with my soul, and that's what's important. All of the other things that are outside that people try to put on you. Oh, well, you did this. This is the other thing. Stop taking on guilt that people put on you. People will guilt you into some stuff, and then you wind up taking on stuff because they made you feel bad. No. Make sure that you enact those boundaries, okay? Don't allow other people to make you feel bad for having boundaries, for prioritizing things for yourself, for not subscribing to the arguments, for not, subscribing to the gossiping, for not subscribing to the negativity, for taking control of your life. You can take control of your life. Yes, God, governs us, but He gives us free will. It is not for us to sit back and allow things to happen to us. We have control because He's given us dominion. So we have control over our situations, our circumstances. We have control over those things, and the things that are right now not within our control, those are things that you take to Him in prayer. That is the one thing that He says. You're supposed to take that into prayer, not ask everybody else for their opinion about what's going on with you, because they're going to tell you what they think, or they're going to give you, well, this didn't happen for me, so it ain't going to happen type of situation. Now you all discouraged and feeling ways, when all you had to do was take it to God and be like, okay, I'm just going to release this and I'm going to let it go. Because now when you start getting people's opinions, who have not walked a day in your shoes. Now you take on all of that energy, and now it disturbs your mental peace. Now you not getting no sleep because you thinking about all of the things that they have said to you about your situation. How do they know? How do they know? They ain't walked in your shoes. So, and especially people, stop giving the information to people that's constantly negative. That's the other part. Stop telling your business to people that don't even see the light for their own lives, right? That don't even see anything good in their own lives. Stop having them conversations because you're not going to make them see anything. This is the one thing that I've learned about being a coach. You wind up taking on so much because people have so many different situations that they're dealing with, and a lot of the times there becomes a heaviness that you wind up feeling because you're trying to help the client, but you wind up feeling that weight of what they're expressing to you. And so I've learned to put distance in between, and that's through trial and error, because before I was all involved in, my clients' lives and, wanting to help and do all these different things. And then after a while, I was like, why do I feel tired? This is not my situation. But I had to learn how to set boundaries and how to recharge and refuel. And this is the other part. People will ask you all of these different questions and want you to help them with their situations, and they ain't even created solutions for it. They just want to spew all of this stuff on you while they out here doing madness and got you all in an uproar, and they constantly causing situations to happen in their own life. It's not necessarily that they need your help. They just want you to to RSVP to their party, to the dysfunctional party. No, you have to learn how to distance yourself from those situations and to regain control in your own life and say, hey, you know what? I understand that you might be walking through X, Y, and Z, but, right now, you can be honest, I don't have the capacity to handle what you're going through. So maybe you need to pray about it. Maybe you need to seek, out a therapist or a life coach or whatever the case may be. Like, there's a way to put it, but you don't have to indulge in all of the things because your health is essential. It is so essential. The other part is when people show you who they are, child, believe them. Don't be trying to love the red flags out of people. I talk about this in relationships before. Make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Tiana Nichelle the Visionary. Crown Combos with Tiana Nichelle the Visionary. And watch previous conversations. Also, make sure that you comment and let me know what you think about those conversations. I would like to know. Also, I have a podcast that's on Spotify, Empower Society Podcast. Go and listen to those small conversations. But when people show you who they are, believe them. That goes for family. That goes for friends. That's in relationships. That's in anything. When they show you who they are, don't sit there trying to love the red flags out of them. Trying to be like, oh no, that's not the way they are. They're just a beautiful person going through a terrible time. If that person has a terrible time every time they talk to you, and you've been friends with this person for some years and they always got a terrible time, yes, life happens, but it's all in how you handle it. And if them people are looking for stuff to be upset about. There are people in the world that just like to be upset, okay? There are people in the world who just like to add to drama and they are always RSVPing for some drama, and they got drama every time they talk to them. Let me tell you. So, there was a conversation that I had with someone probably a month or so ago. And I was just like, I know that this person has some things that has happened. And I had distanced myself from this person because they always in the middle of some mess, child. And so this particular day, and this is me being transparent, this particular day, I was just like, okay, you know, they had called and they texted and they were just like, you know, I really need, you know, a listening ear. So I say, okay. And so they go on and on and on about all of the 50 million things that's going wrong in their life. Now, mind you, in this whole conversation, they are the ones who had control over the situation the whole entire time. But they didn't want to take responsibility for that situation. They wanted to blame the situation on the other party, but in no way, shape, form, or fashion did they feel responsible for anything that transpired, right? So after listening to them, I'm just like, okay, so, you know, what do you think you should be doing? And they're like, it's not my fault. And I was like, do you have a solution? Like, you got all of these things going on. You know, is there a solution? Do you have a solution to this? And they're like, well, they should have, and I should have back then, and this and that. And I was like, what's the solution now? Like you said, all of these things are going on with this one person, mind you, and you had the power to walk away from this person, but you decided not to. You decided to entertain this person and keep this person in your life all of this time. And there's been one situation after another, but you want to complain. So what is your solution? They had none. They just wanted to spill all of that. And then told me that they didn't like the way that I responded to what they were saying. Because in my mind, I'm like, you should be holding yourself accountable for what you've allowed. But then I winded up saying it. At first I wasn't saying it because I was like, But after a while I was like, no. And this is the other part. They wanted me to respond. So they wanted me to listen. And then when I was listening, it wasn't enough. So now they're like, well, what do you think? Why are you allowing this to keep happening? When do you say enough is enough? Why are you still subscribing to these issues when you could have easily walked away knowing how this person's character is? They didn't like that response. They actually got upset and told me that I was basically just this terrible person because of what I said. And I was just like, so did you want me to clown? Like, what response was you looking for? Because I don't have that type of response. Because at the end of the day, you are the person who essentially has control on what you allow into your life, what you take on. You are responsible for that. So there's nobody else to hold accountable but you. So what are we talking about here? You just wanted me to be a part of your bashing party, and I don't have the time. And of course, they were done with the conversation. And then they sent this long text message about how they didn't like me saying that, and it was rude and it was disrespectful. And I was just like, there was so many things that I could have said that was rude and disrespectful. But the fact that you decided to take me holding you accountable for your life, because you are responsible for your life, as you're offended or whatever the case may be, that tells me how unhealthy you truly are. And I didn't even say anything. I just read it, but I just took a mental note and I was like, okay. So the next time that this person decides to reach out, you will not be able to reach me, baby. Because I have nothing to give you. As a matter of fact, my block game is strong too. So I have nothing to give you. But you have to be like that, because people will be out here trying to wear you out because they are all over the place. They don't have stability in themselves. They're not healed. There are so many unhealed people walking around here, and they will disrupt your healing process with their nonsense. And it's not your responsibility to be their savior. Take it to God and let Him lead you. If He's leading you to talk to them, to work with them, if you're a coach or counselor or whatever, then let Him lead you in that. But if you just a friend, sometimes you got to step back from friends who always got problems, because they always complaining or cussing somebody out, because it's so unhealthy. That's not how you should be living or want to live. You can't attract positivity and good things in your life, abundance in your life, when you have a negative walls. It's like when you play the video game and you going to battle, with your opponent. It's like you doing this. You're blocking what's supposed to be coming in when it comes to all of the good things. Like you're fighting, you're constantly fighting. Now, it is important for you to free yourself, your space, your environment. It's important to free all of that up for all of the good things, and they will come. They will come. Trust and believe me. When you free yourself, and you ain't got to battle with everybody. You don't have to battle with everybody. You could just take it in prayer. I'm telling you, because prayer changes things. Thank you all for joining. But yes, you don't have to constantly fight with nobody, because that is not what God has for you. You ain't got to constantly argue with nobody. You don't have to constantly defend yourself. This is the other part. When people always make you feel bad about yourself, they got a problem, because they too busy worrying about what you have going on. It's really a reflection of themselves. Like, they don't want to deal with what's going on with themselves, so they want to point out everything that's wrong with you. Get silent. Don't respond. Don't say nothing. Because somebody that's always offended with you, 9 times out of 10, they see the greatness in you. They see the greatness in you, but they don't want you to see what's in you. The funny thing about life is that people can see your greatness before you see it. And because a lot of times people don't see it within themselves, they will find faults with you. And they will continuously find fault with you, hoping that you won't see the person who you're called to be. They're hoping that you won't see your true potential. Baby, you got to release and remove yourself from them type of people, because the people that are supposed to be in your life are going to pour into you. They're going to lift you up. They're going to be there for you, good or bad. They're not going to be there just when everything is going good, and they're not going to be there just because everything is going bad. You have to be careful of people that come into your life during those seasons where you're at your lowest place, because like energy attracts like energy. When you are at a low place, do not get into a relationship with people. I'm telling you this. And I'll talk about that. I will talk about um, the things that I have walked through in the past when um, I got into a relationship with someone, and I had just experienced a breakup. This was 6 years ago. 6 years ago. And I had already stated to this person, like, I was not, well, I can talk about it now. I was not ready for a relationship, and I said it. Like, I'm not ready for anything. Just go out. That's fine. That's it. I don't want anything more. Just somebody just to hang out with every now and then. We can go to the show or whatever. And so the person really, like, was pressuring. Like, let's be together. And I said, okay. Knowing full well I did not have the capacity because I was not over the last person. Like, I was still inside of myself, like, why did this go like this? Why does this have to be like this? Like, I was inside of myself having a whole mental situation going on, because what the guy didn't know is, even though me and the ex had broken up, the ex was reaching out to me to try to work things out, and I was just like, I need a minute. But I was still struggling with why did it go like this? Why, and I really wanted to, at that time, because 6 years ago I was not the person that I am today. 6 years ago I was like, you gonna get these words. You gonna get this. But I was just like, I don't want to talk to him right now, because if I talk to him, I'm going to go off and all of these other things. So I wasn't truly over my ex. And when I got into this relationship, I had told the guy that I wasn't even ready for a relationship, but I did it anyway. Do you know that it was probably the worst decision that I made, because it was nonstop drama. Nonstop drama with this dude. And it was my fault, because when you had all of that stuff going on inside of you and you are not operating at your best, at your healthiest, your highest capacity, you attract people that are in the same space. And now it's a tug of war, because they are not operating at their best. They're operating in their mess and dysfunction, and so are you. So both of y'all operating in dysfunction, and now y'all fighting. Y'all battling. It's always something. It was always something. I'm going to tell you, there was no peace in that relationship at all. It was only peace for the first 6 months. The first 6 months was peaceful. After that, all hell broke loose. That's the reason why we're not married, because I was engaged. That's the reason we're not married. I called it off, because I'm not getting married to that. I'm not getting married to dysfunction. That's when I started to wake up. And this is the thing, the other part is, when you are going through something and you wind up, you start coming out of that thing, and you in partnership or relationship with a person that's operating in the same dysfunction, you are going to clash so much. Even through your healing process, it's going to be worse. That's when I started healing piece by piece, because it wasn't a overnight process, baby. This is years, okay? This is a year's journey. And every day it's still a journey, because you can be triggered by things. But when I started to heal and see things for how they were, and I was like, I don't like that. Could you stop doing that? I don't want to be triggered. I don't want to yell at you. I feel like, we should be talking instead of yelling. When I started to do that, it would piss him off even more. And then now he's yelling and screaming. And I'm like, well, what are you yelling for? you acting so nonchalant. And I'm like, no, because in order for us to be in a relationship, why are we yelling and screaming at each other about foolishness? It's not necessary. But I realized that the more peace I started to have is the more arguments he started to create. And after a while, I just stopped caring. I went through this period where I was just like, I don't even care. And oh my goodness, when I tell you he hated it, child, he hated it. Because at that moment, like at that period of my life, I was like, this relationship is over. Now, I stayed around for the kid. That was not my kid, but it was his kid. I stayed around for a minute to help because of the relationship I had with the child. But other than that, to me, the relationship was dead. So you couldn't say nothing that was going to move me, shake me, because it was just like you wanted me to argue with you for no reason. And I couldn't keep doing it. Like, I was just like, you're making me mad for no reason. And so even when I started, and this is the other part, I started going to restaurants by myself. I started going to the movies by myself. I started going on weekend stays at hotels by myself just to get away, okay? And he hated it. My phone would be blowing up, all types of craziness, shenanigans kicking off. He messaging folks and just doing all types of stuff to disrupt the peace that I was trying to create. And when I detached from him, when I tell you I had so much peace, so much peace. And the crazy part is, he still operates the same way. And it's evident in the things that he does when he tries to reach out and through different channels or whatever. Even using the child as a pawn. It's just been all types of stuff that I haven't even talked about or touched on, baby. But I'm just telling you, I have prioritized my peace. And I'm over 130 pounds down, okay? So that lets you know that your peace is everything. Your mental health is everything. The energy that you allow into your sphere is everything. The people that you connect with is everything. The people that you allow to in your life to do relationship with is important. It is really important. And so it can break you. It can break you. That's why having relationships with people, when people talk about equally yoked, and that's really a conversation in the church community, being equally yoked and all this other stuff. First off, if you ain't asked God about your relationship with a person, you should not be getting married or do a relationship with a person. I'm telling you this from my own experience. I didn't ask God about that dude because I wasn't in the place where I am now. As a matter of fact, my relationship with God was not like this. I would pray, like, yeah, that was my routine. I would have worship, but it wasn't real, like, where I would go to God for everything, like, literally everything. It wasn't like it is now. So I should have asked, because had I asked, he would have revealed. This is the crazy part. When you have a relationship with God, he gonna reveal people's true intentions to you, baby. And when them people leave, you got to be prepared for that leaving. And you got to be okay with them leaving. And it's fine that they leave because they're not for you. God is not saying the people, the person that is for you. The friends that are for you, the relationship that is for you. And even sometimes you got to do this to family members. You got to put family members back there somewhere. Because people will feel entitled to your life based on their relationship with you. You don't have time for that. You do not have time for that. You don't have time for anything that's going to hinder you from your purpose, being the best version of yourself, or having the best relationship with God that you could ever have, the best experience with God. Because when you have a relationship and experience with God, it's something totally different from when you have that with people. When your relationship is based on people, it's totally different. But when your relationship is based on God, it's a whole nother level. And I'm just telling you this from experience. Don't let people's expectations, this the other part. Stop having expectations of people for them to operate how you operate. That was something that I had to learn. Because I would be like, well, why are you not doing this? I would recommend that you do this because, no, people are not going to operate how you operate. And you got to stop having all of these expectations of somebody to operate the way that you are. God made them who they are. You are who you are. But if that person is operating in negativity all the time, unsubscribe yourself from the negativity. You don't have to be around that. You don't. Because hurt people hurt people. You don't have time to be continuously putting yourself in situations to get hurt. That's not what God called you to do. So stop subscribing to the nonsense. When somebody is, like I said before, constantly taking away from you, they constantly pulling on you, you got to pull back. You got to get into your quiet space. Go into protection mode. I don't care who has to say what about what. You have the power to put yourself in a safe space where it's you connecting with yourself and connecting with God. You have that power. So prioritize your mental health so that you can live your life at peace, have joy, where you're operating in abundance. You are attracting situations that are meaningful, relationships that are meaningful, and you got to leave people where they are and take it to God. You do. You cannot get caught up in what other people have to say about you, what they think about you. Do what you have to do, because your relationship is essentially with God. If God led you to do it, but if you ain't asked God about that thing, don't say that God told you to do anything. Don't. Because God is not going to send you a woman or a man who's out here for the streets and you hold, sold out for Christ, or using you or abusing you. He's not going to send you those type of people that are manipulative, that are narcissistic, that are all self-fulfilled. Even though we live in a time where everybody has become a lover of themselves, this is a part of what's going on. It is biblical too, but you don't have to put yourself in the mix of people that are like that, because it's not fulfilling to your life. It's not productive. You have to do things that are productive, that bring you joy, happiness, peace, love, child, that just make you wake up in the morning with such a purpose, all of those things. So you have to prioritize your mental health so that you can be at 100% at all times. And when you start to feel yourself depleted, just pull back, reconnect, recharge. Even the affirmations, do your affirmations. I talk about affirmations, and there are people that talk against affirmations. The thing about affirmations is that you actually, when you're saying those things, you got to believe what you're saying. You can't just be reading it, and you might start off just reading it, but you have to believe every word of that affirmation. I am confident. I attract abundance. I have something to contribute to the world. I am a world changer. I am a change agent. I attract opportunities. all of these different things. I actually have an affirmations guide that is on my website. What else? I have Empower Society app. Child, I built a whole app, okay? Without no formal, I might have the degrees, but I ain't go to school for tech. I have a whole mobile app. Empower Society, Google Play, Apple App Store. Download it. It's free. And it sends you messages if you are a family member or you have an individual with a disability in your sphere. One, it sends out the daily empowerment messages. Two, it's a directory of services and resources for individuals with Down syndrome and other abilities. So you have the ability to go to the mobile app and find all of the resources and services for your loved one. And it's growing. Like, our network is growing. It's so amazing. When you prioritize your mental health, what you can do, baby. I have partnered with different organizations, including South Suburban Special Recreation Association, who they actually have us advertised on the back of their program manual that goes out to thousands of families. So, yes, and in partnership, we on August 19th will be at their 50th anniversary celebration. They bring programs. They have programs and different events for individuals with disabilities. We will be giving out school supplies there. So when you are prioritizing your peace and your mental health, you have time to operate in your capacity. And I am doing that. Going full throttle with Empower Society. Please subscribe to our newsletter because we talk about different inspirational stories. What else? We have a network of businesses and services, and we, introduce those in the newsletter. Let you know upcoming events. We have a sneaker ball coming up. We have the master class coming up. These are things that I'm working on because I got time to work on stuff when I'm, because I'm prioritizing my peace and my mental health so I can operate at a different level. What else? I'm on the board of directors for the National Association for Down Syndrome. So October 1st, we have a fashion show. I'm actually going to be doing the Best Buddies walk, the Chicagoland Buddy Walk, I should say. The Best Buddies Friendship Walk was a couple months ago. It's the Chicagoland Buddies Walk. I'm going to be doing that too. October is Down Syndrome Awareness Month, so I'm going to be doing a lot of different events that I would like for you all to join me in. Some might require you to donate something in order to be a part, buy a ticket. What else? Some might be free. So get in tune. Come along because I'm going to be doing some things and getting Empower Society because this is the fourth year. This is the fourth year of Empower Society, guys, the fourth anniversary. And it was started with my sister, so I want to go into that. It was started in 2019, me and my sister, out of a need to connect families to resources. We heard by going to her classes, because I had her signed up for a whole lot of different classes through South Suburban Special Recreation Association. She was able to do cooking classes. She did theater. She did aerobics. She did, pottery, a bunch of stuff. But there were parents that were there that I would talk to, parents, grandparents, siblings just like me, that I would talk to, where they're like, okay, we just found out about this place. Where Do people even know about the resources? Are there resources out there? Like, we're just finding out that my child is this old, or my grandchild is this old, or my sibling is this old. So how, like, do we know? And God dropped it in my spirit to create a mobile app. The organization wasn't even created yet, but God dropped it in my spirit to create a mobile app. And I know it was God because I had no business plan for it. I had a business plan. Bella Lux had just went on 1 year. And I had a business plan for Bella Lux. Before that was Visionary Creations. I had a business plan for Visionary Creations. Every single business I had a business plan for, but I did not have one for Empower Society. And so I'm just thinking I'm just going to create this mobile app, and it's just going to have resources on there. And, created the mobile app, started with the resources, and then because I was in school earning my doctorate, we had to connect with a nonprofit organization, and my chair was like, you can create your own. So that's how the organization got created. And I'm like, what I'm offering on this mobile app, I can offer in person. Then in 2020, we did our first supply drive. And for those of you who don't know, she actually passed away in August of 2020. So on the 25th, it will make 3 years that she has been gone. And so, but we did our first supply drive the week before she passed away. And I've been doing it ever since. I've still been pushing. And I'm going to say this, it has been a challenge. I'm going to be all the way 100. It has been the most challenging thing because my sister was my baby. So it has been the most challenging thing to go through my own healing journey, my own grieving journey, which is why I know about this stuff oh so well. Because she was not the only one. I lost my father when I was 15. I had to go through that. All of my grandparents I have lost. I've lost my auntie, my uncle, like a lot of people in my family. So I can tell you my experience, and your experience might be a little bit different, but I can give you some things that helped me to come out of that fog. But I am operating, doing Empower Society, connecting with businesses. We have donors, like you all saw me picking up school supplies. We actually have another donor that came in, and this is a company. So, like, I'm operating, and it's hard, but I know that this is my purpose, so I'm doing it. Even the Creationist Masterclass that starts next month, it's difficult because she's not here. Even when I'm in the board meetings and all of these different things, because I'm an ambassador, like I said, for another organization. When I'm looking at the public policies or being a chairperson for another organization on their human rights committee, and I'm looking at all of these different behavior plans, sometimes tears come to my eyes. So God will turn your pain into purpose. He really will, because through your own pain, He will have you to speak to someone because you walk through that thing. He will have you to coach someone. You just never know. This was not what I was doing before. I was very introverted. I was upset with God. I was not happy in life. And you see the glow up. You see the glow up. It is not without having attacks. I'm not going to say that it's been perfect, because I have had attacks left and right with things when you like, what? You get out of that and something else happens. You get out of one thing and something else happens. So you're going to experience attacks, but it's all in how you handle them, especially when you know your purpose, when you understand your purpose and you allow God to lead you in your purpose. Those attacks are going to seem minuscule. You might get knocked down. You might have to recoup, get yourself back up, and get back on it. And that's what I have done with Empower Society. And so I have decided to focus really on Empower Society. And that's why, people have seen me not promote Bella Lux, which is now a different, under a different name. But haven't been seeing me promote my beauty business, haven't been seeing me promote the other businesses, because Empower Society is my focal point, which God has shown me that because there is a need for empowerment for families who have children with disabilities. It is not something that I take lightly. I was taking it lightly before, but God is like, no, you got to do this thing. That's why I have the master class coming up next month for families to learn and caretakers to learn how to advocate. I actually have some people that will be, it's a 6-week master class. I have some people that will come in. It'll be once a week. So registration opens up on Saturday. And the class will be once a week, and it'll be 2 hours. So an hour with whoever the speaker is, an hour for 30 minutes to an hour for questions. So you will be able to ask whatever questions you have about advocacy, about the IEP, about 504 plan, about ways to advocate. It's just going to be phenomenal. I haven't seen anything like this before, but this is something that God dropped in my spirit, and we going with it. So, if you know a family or you want to be a part of the master class, the registration opens up on Saturday. If you want to be in on the supply drive and donate, you can go to empowersociety21.org. If you actually want to donate physical supplies, where you go to the store and you do the list or whatever the case may be through the app. It's really through the app now because everybody got an app. But you could do where I can pick the supplies up. People have done that where I've gone to pick the supplies up. It would just have to be one, make sure that the Walmart or Target is near Matteson, Illinois, because that's where my organization is out of. 2, make sure that you have my name somewhere in that as a pickup person, so that I will be able to do that. And the other part is, if you are a family that needs school supplies, please reach out. Black people, please reach out. Do not hesitate. Don't think that you bothering me. This is what we doing. This is the help. Last year, I was able to help over 400 students. This year, I want to help over 1,000 students. So, if you are a parent, a loved one, a caretaker, anybody, share this information. I'm going to put the flyer up. You can share the flyer. What else? Again, we're on the 19th. We're going to be at South Suburban Special Recreation Association's 50th anniversary, giving out school supplies. That will be in Flossmoor, Illinois. I will put that information up. So if you are around the Homewood, Flossmoor area, or you want to come out to that area to pick up school supplies, do so. If you are in the Chicagoland area and you need to get a delivery of school supplies to your house, contact me. Okay. Want to make sure that the children have what they need. And with that, I thank you all for joining the conversation. A lot of you all did not say anything, but I am grateful that you came on to actually support. Make sure that you go on to my YouTube channel, Crown Convos with Tiana Nichelle, the Visionary, to see previous conversations. On Facebook, because my phone was glitching earlier. If you want to watch this replay, it's going to be on YouTube tomorrow morning because it glitched. Something was going on with my reception with Facebook. So the replay will be available on YouTube tomorrow morning. So thank you all for joining. Make sure that you're prioritizing your mental health. Release yourself, free yourself from negative people, places, and things. People, places, and things that come to attack your mental health. Detach. It's okay. Yes. And I will talk to you later. wonderful night. Blessings to you. I love you. Bye.